Welcome to Wholeheartedly for the Lord Bible Journaling with Sherry. Today's process video will be a woman in the Bible called Abigail. For those of you who are new to my channel, last year I started doing women of the Bible. I don't do it regularly, just as I feel like I want to uplift a particular woman in the Bible. So I'm taking my very sweet time with it. When I feel like I want to share a particular woman because of something that had ministered to me, that's when I will share it with you guys. So I'm using this book called Every Woman in the Bible. And it literally has every woman in the Bible and just like what her name means, the culture of the times, because it's so important to understand the people and the customs of the time in which the Bible was written, and or especially the time when that particular character, person in the Bible, what was going on in the culture at that time and the view of women. This right here is a planner that I purchased for like $4 or $5. It's a 2019 planner that I'm using for my women of the Bible. And this is my guide, the cultural history of women, to read the chapter pertaining to the woman in the Bible, definition of her name, the background history, her story, the lessons that I learned, a reflection, and a prayer. My sources are from commentary, my life application Bible, of course, number one, the Bible, and my different study Bibles. So that's what I used to bring together what I'm saying with you guys as the Lord gives me utterance and understanding to his word, because all of those mean nothing if he doesn't illuminate and give me understanding to bring it all together. And so what I do is I keep it in one place here and I jot down my notes. And so when I'm done, whenever that is, I'll have a planner full of women in the Bible, my study notes, my references, and I can always add to them like tip-ins and things like that. If I go back to a particular woman and glean something else, I'll just add it there. I just like having one place where I am focusing on women of the Bible, because it is so important for us as Christian women to be influenced by godly women of scripture. That's not to say that women of today are not great influences. Thank God for them and the strides that women have made in society. But above them and above all things, the women of the scripture, the women that God has called us to be, that for me takes precedence over anything else. So they are my guide. They are my go-to first. And if I can glean something from someone else in the world, that'll be great. But as far as godliness, scriptures define what God sees or who God sees as a godly woman. This is a short story, but a powerful one. Thank you for watching. And remember, if I can Bible journal, so can you. And I'm doing a quick flip through of the notes that I've done, but I am being blessed by studying these women of scripture and learning lessons about life, about the Lord, and myself in them. Take care. Today I'll be using a kit from the TheBlackberryShop called Abigail. It was the only shop that had a kit on Abigail. That's how I came across her shop, and I really love her elements. Very inexpensive, and they're great quality. We are in the 25th chapter of the book of 1 Samuel, and here's where we meet Abigail. She's sweet, she's beautiful, she's intelligent, but she is married to a very disrespectful, mean, ornery man. As a matter of fact, Nabal, his name in Hebrew means fool. He acts foolishly all of the time. So you could imagine the amount of pressure that this woman has, who's married to a prominent man in the community, a rich man, a prominent man, and she's sweet and she's kind, but he's mean. That right there is like oil and water, but she makes it work. And based on the story, we can see that she has great interpersonal skills. Women of scripture have great insights and great characteristics for us to admire. She was intelligent. She obviously was politically savvy in her attempts to thwart what was going to happen, because David was in the wilderness. He was already running from Saul, and he had his troops with him and his men, and they came across the field in the wilderness, and they wanted to ask Nabal's sheep shearers if they could have a few items so that they can be able to have a dinner or some type of, feast in the wilderness. And David reminded them of how kind and protective they were of them. They never harassed them. They let them do what they were supposed to do. They didn't let anyone else bother them. And basically David was saying, could you go back and please ask, Nabal if he could please share some items with us. We'll pay him, we'll give him whatever he needs, but remind him how kind we were. And when they brought the message back to Nabal, he was disrespectful. He was offended. Who is this David? And why would I give him some food when I have slaves and workers here that I have to feed? Now, this man was rich and he had a lot of money. So it would not have bothered him one bit to give David something. Well, lo and behold, the message gets back to David that he was disrespectful, he was rude, and he refused. David was angry, and so he set out to kill him and all the men of the household. So everyone was in danger, including Abigail. Abigail was quick on her feet. She was not nasty. She was not disrespectful. She was not ornery. She was sweet and she was kind. And she took the blame for what her husband did. That's amazing. And she calmed the storm. She calmed the storm. She went to David and said, please have mercy on us. I did not know that you were here. I did not know that this request was made of you. Take this. She gave him what he asked for and more. Abigail is smart and politically astute. She appeals to David. I know you to be a godly man. Don't do this evil. Don't do this thing. Don't let revenge be on your hands, but spare us. My husband is a fool. He's always been a fool. She bravely takes responsibility for her husband's foolishness and puts her life in jeopardy. As a result of her quick thinking and wisdom, she was able to change David's mind by appealing to his godliness, by reminding him what it would do if he took vengeance into his own hands. And we know David to be a man after God's own heart. He changes his mind and blesses her for it. And as a result of this, the Lord shows her favor in a very different way. He smotes Nabal. Nabal dies 10 days later from a stroke or something. And David requests for Abigail and he wants to marry her because she influenced him in such a good and godly way. Abigail shows us that we can be smart, intelligent, and politically astute, and all of those wonderful things show such wisdom without losing our godliness or our femininity. Strength in the Lord's sight is being humble, kind, sweet, and meek. And look what God did for her in her life. The Lord can and will do amazing things in our lives if we just become the women that He has called us to be. Thank you for watching and take care.